Just look at all those children in TV commercials. Ever wonder just how they got there? Have you ever thought that your child would be perfect for one of those parts? Chances are you may be right, but where do you begin? The answer? Right here. Because in this video, you're going to hear the inside story on one of the most exciting and potentially lucrative businesses around today. You'll also learn the easiest way to get started. And finally, you'll discover the 6 simple steps that every parent must take to put their child in the spotlight. While it's true that all children are born beautiful, some were born to be models. Hello, I'm Laura Turnbull. As you can surely see from watching television commercials, the demand for child models in advertising has never been greater. But the question is, can any child be a model? While some would say yes, the truth is not every child is model material. The trick is being able to tell the difference and then understanding exactly what's required to succeed in this business. As a parent, you're probably wondering if it is tough to break in or if the steps that you will need to take are all that difficult. You'll be happy to know that the answer to both questions is a surprising not really. So then why do so many parents fail when attempting to pursue TV commercial opportunities for their children? Simply put, they do not understand the working process of this business. For some reason, there seems to be no clear, concise information available to guide a parent through the confusing maze that awaits every parent who is considering TV commercial opportunities for their child. That's the heart of what this video is all about. First, you will learn how to decide if your child has the potential that's needed to pursue these opportunities. Next, you will learn if you, the parent, has what it takes to make a successful attempt at assisting your child into this business. And finally, we will discuss the simple steps that every aspiring model or actor must take in order to have the best chance at succeeding. You'll also get to hear from top agents, talent scouts, casting directors, child stars, and their parents. Before we get started, let me take a moment to introduce the experts that you will be hearing from in this video. Their candid insights will help to give you a better understanding of what's expected from you and your child in this business. Without a doubt, one of the most popular and busiest casting directors in the country is Mr. Richard Reed. Richard has cast literally thousands of children for television commercials that you see every day.
When I'm casting 40 or 50 children a day, I hope that out of that 40 or 50, there is probably 3 or 4 that will do the job really well, and the second they do it, I know it. I can sort of pick, by the end of the day, who I believe out of the group will get the spot. I know that already. It's not that I choose it or I don't say it. It does go on to the director and the production company and the advertising agency and the client, but I already know. There's a blend of their personality, the copy, the movements, the look. When it happens, it's magic and it's really wonderful. It's wonderful. It's a great feeling to see somebody click right into it. It really is.
It is almost an impossibility to succeed in this business unless you first acquire quality representation. It will be your agent or manager that will likely hold your success or failure in their hands. While ultimately agents and managers look for slightly different types of talent to represent, they are, at least in the beginning, all looking for what they consider to be similar, successful characteristics. You will be hearing from Miss Leanne Camina, who represents one of the top management companies in New York City. Leanne is responsible for finding and grooming some of today's most successful child models and actors.
There's always going to be a demand for great kids. You can call any agent, you can call any manager, and if you've got a great kid, they're interested. The casting directors are always looking for new faces. Kids grow up. The kid that's 10 today, in 2 years, is not 10 anymore, and they need new 10-year-olds. They're always going to need new children that are that have the great personality and the spunkiness and the drive to succeed in this business. There's always going to be a demand.
We're also happy to have with us the author of one of the most popular books on the subject of breaking into the business, A Parent's Guide to Successful Child Modeling, Mr. Fred Van Oor. Fred is also the National Director of Screen Test USA, the largest talent scouting and referral network for aspiring talent in the country.
I would have to say that the demand for children in advertising has never been greater. The demand today by advertising agencies is almost insatiable. Let's face it, look at TV. You see children in TV commercials from everything from fashion to furniture to automobile tires. Whereas years ago, they really were predominantly reserved for children's toys, children's clothing, that kind of thing. Now you see them in all different areas of advertising. The other area is that children are constantly growing up. A 6-month-old child outgrows that age bracket very, very quickly. So the search is constant for new faces to be used to replace the children that have outgrown those age categories. So I would have to say that the opportunities for a child out there have never been better.
To give you the view from a child star's eyes, we will be speaking with a little girl that has helped to keep the television world zestfully clean. She is also one of the current stars in Les Miserables on Broadway, and one of the hardest working 11-year-olds that we know. Her name is Lacey Chabert.
Well, when I was little, I always liked to sing and perform in front of the mirror. And I used to be in school plays and little commercials down in Mississippi where I live. And one day we came up here for a Star Search audition to New York, and I got to be on that show. And so then I wanted to audition for commercials and stuff just to see what it was like. So I got an agent, and then I auditioned, and I got something. So we said, well, we'll just stay a summer just to try it out. Well, right now I'm in Les Miserables, the Broadway show, and I did a movie with Bette Midler, which was Gypsy, that was on 3 months ago, where I played a blonde, her daughter, and that was fun. And I've been in commercials, like the mayonnaise commercial, Jell-O, Zest, that's stuff that ran recently. And I was on Star Search, and that's it.
For a parent's point of view, we will be talking with the mother of another very successful little actor. You've probably seen him in numerous commercials, including Coca-Cola, Days Inn, Lego, and many others. His name is Daniel Refsnyder, and he is here today with his mom, Donna Refsnyder.
I don't think he would know near as much as he does if he had never done the business, nor would he have the self-confidence that he does. I mean, I look at it as a big learning experience. It's a big business, and you don't know which end of the camera you're going to end up on, and maybe it's better on the other end of the camera, actually. So that's how I look at it, and I think that's how he looks at it. And if he were to change his mind tomorrow and decide he wants to be a lawyer, which I don't think he would ever do, but all that experience of being in front of people and interviewing and is just so fantastic. I mean, you just can't beat it.
We'll be hearing more from all of our guests as we continue. But now it's time to talk about your child and the steps you will need to take to succeed in this business. So let's get started. The first section of this video consists of questions that have been designed to help you determine if your child has the basic traits that would make them a good candidate for pursuing TV commercial opportunities. Most parents believe that their children possess star quality. In the greater scheme of things, all children do have a star quality in some sense of the word. However, the advertising world is going to make their judgments of your child's potential based on a different set of values. The questions that follow will help to give you a more complete understanding of what the advertising world will be looking for in a child model. Take some time to think about and answer the questions that follow, and listen closely to the experts as they talk about their views on these subjects. Remember, it's now time to be completely honest with yourself. Don't forget that the agents and advertisers who will be considering your child for modeling assignments are going to be completely honest with you. Question number 1 deals with your child's personality. Ask yourself the following. Does your child have a friendly and outgoing personality? At first glance, determining whether your child has a friendly and outgoing personality may seem like an easy question to answer. You must, however, think beyond the personality that your child displays when he or she is in the comfort and security of familiar family surroundings. A child model will need to interact with many different people while pursuing modeling opportunities. You and your child will be meeting and working with many different people. There will be agents, managers, photographers, casting directors, and production crews to deal with, just to name a few. The successful child model should be able to adapt quickly to meeting new people. Your child will be encountering not only new people, but new places as well. If your child is fearful of the unknown or the unfamiliar, they may indeed have a problem adapting to the hustle and bustle of life on the set. Does your child enjoy meeting new people and encountering new surroundings? Does your child respond enthusiastically to new situations?
I think good characteristics for a child model are their personality. It almost doesn't matter to me what the child looks like physically. There is a certain degree I look for, but are they alive? Do the eyes say something? Are they verbal? Is there a charm about them? Do they win you over right away? Whether they're character, whether they're pretty, it really doesn't matter. It's do they come across? That's the first thing I'll look upon meeting a child.
As far as the personality of a child, they have to be professional. They have to be patient. They have to take direction. I mean, these are kids that are selling products, and obviously advertisers are going to want kids that are spunky, that have personality, that have life to them. I mean, they want somebody who's going to really go out there and sell their product and make people want to buy it. And you need kids with a lot of life and a lot of personality.
I would have to say that more important than the looks of the child would be the personality of the child. To me, and to most casting directors, personality is everything. We want a child to be captivating. We want them to be memorable. And normally, a child with an outgoing personality has the ability to enchant us to a point where we say, this is the child that we think should be with this product. So personality is the key to success.
Remember that a child model's work requires an outgoing personality and enthusiasm. The whole goal of a child model's participation in this business is that they portray a friendly, happy, almost fearless personality. Ask yourself, does my child have a friendly, outgoing personality? In almost all cases, a shy child will not make a good model. As a rule, it's the happy, inquisitive, outgoing child that has the best chance for succeeding in this business. Question number 2 deals with your child's individual look. Ask yourself the following. Does your child look like the kids you see on TV? In the past, most child models were hired because they possessed an above-average level of beauty. They were perceived as the ideal image of a child. Girls were pretty and had gorgeous curls and big, round eyes. Boys, on the other hand, had perfect faces, full heads of hair, great teeth, and an angelic smile. A slow but sure transformation has been taking place in advertising over the past 20 years or so. The advertisers have come to learn that parents respond more favorably to commercials and advertisements that feature models who more closely resemble their own children. This has led to a complete turnaround in the looks that we see in television. Today, it's the average child that gets the most work. The looks range from cute to character, featuring all types, all sizes, and all races. So whether your child's look falls into perfectly beautiful, handsome, average, chubby, freckled, pretty, or character by today's advertising standards, they have the look. The good news is, if they look like a child, then they have the look.
The popular look today has been going on for a couple of years. It's been developing more and more to real people. That doesn't mean they're non-actors. It's just actors who look like the next door neighbor, who look like someone down the street that you would just walking past, not someone who is beautiful or striking or different. It's a blend. More and more commercials. There'll always be beauty commercials. There'll always be those special people who have to look like that. But most of the commercials we do today are just the guy next door. Almost anybody can do commercials is what it's coming down to.
As far as what people are looking for today, they're looking for the kid next door. They're looking for bright, energetic kids to sell their products. They want the kid that looks like he could be your neighbor. I mean, there are times they're going to want a beautiful child. There are times they're going to want someone a little offbeat, a little character looking. But for the most part, these are kids that look like your next door neighbors selling these products. When you watch a commercial, they don't want someone to stand out as being beautiful or being a certain look. They want their product to stand out. These kids are just the messengers, and that's what they're looking for, someone who's not going to steal the show, but's going to help sell their product.
Today, it's really changed. Years ago, the advertisers were looking for that perfect child. Perfect teeth, perfect smile, perfect eyes, long, flowing, curly hair, dimples, your basic Shirley Temple look. Nowadays, the trend has really changed towards the everyday child, the kid next door, your child. I mean, advertisers have come to realize that the consumer really responds a lot more rapidly to children who look like their own children. So today, it's the everyday kid, the average child, who has the best chance for success.
Because modeling really boils down to your child being in front of a camera, this may well be one of the most important questions. Ask yourself, does your child enjoy having their picture taken? Seems like a simple enough question, but the real key here is who will be taking the picture. Most children will respond wonderfully to having their picture taken by a parent, but consider what happens when you take your child out to a professional photographer. Does your child enjoy this process? Are they comfortable with the new surroundings and the stranger who is taking their picture? Do they respond well under these circumstances? Normally, the photographer's studio becomes the perfect testing ground for the new model. If your child enjoys hamming it up for the camera, chances are they will make a good model. To the contrary, the child who does not enjoy the process of having their picture taken will not make a very good model. If your child has not yet been photographed by someone other than a family member, it will be impossible for you to fully answer this question at this time. You may have to rely on your instincts at this point. When all is said and done, it is just your child and the camera. If your child loves the cameras and the lights, chances are they will love the work and experiences that are associated with child modeling.
One of the most common traits that we find over and over and over and again in the successful child models are kids who love to have their picture taken. I mean, that's basically it. It's basically a child in front of the camera, whether it's a video camera, whether it's a photographic camera. If you've got a child who enjoys that process, if when you're at home and you take out that camera and the child lights up and has fun when that flash goes off, then you've pretty much got the makings of a good child model. You know, give me a kid who likes to have their picture taken, and I'll show you a child who could have a nice future in this business.
When I do a TV commercial, they call you in, and you have to be there usually around 9 o'clock, and they bring you to like a big set or whatever the commercial is for, and then you usually get like your wardrobe on, you'll like bring clothes, and they'll have clothes, and they pick what they want you to wear, and then you get your makeup done and your hair done, and then you shoot it. I like to see my commercials because usually you don't see it before, and it's like, there's me, I'm on TV. It's really fun.
The next area for consideration is the amount of patience your child possesses. Ask yourself, is patience one of your child's virtues? Keep in mind that although the average commercial is only 30 seconds in length, a great deal of time goes into the planning and the shooting of that spot. What does this mean to your child? Usually long and sometimes boring waiting periods. While the crew is working to get the lighting just right and the stylist is preparing the product to look its absolute best, the models are waiting for their moment to perform. Modeling can also mean repetition, repetition, repetition. The director obviously wants the best take of your child and the product, and will usually repeat the same scene several, if not many times, to make sure he has it. Ask yourself, is your child patient? If your child has an extremely short attention span, they may become bored and restless on the set. Children who can occupy their time and amuse themselves normally will be ready to perform when it's their turn on the set. If your child does well on long rides in the car or while waiting with you for an appointment, they will most likely adapt well to the circumstances of the modeling business. Think carefully. Is patience one of your child's virtues?
Well, a typical day of shooting a commercial is you go in, you meet everybody, the directors and stuff, and then they choose your wardrobe. They'll have you bring in clothes, and also the wardrobe person will bring clothes in also. And they'll pick something that you'd like to wear, and then they'll send you to get makeup and look pretty and your hair done. And then you'll shoot it usually, and they'll do take after take after take, and then you get to see it on TV. It's really important that you're very patient because they take forever with the lighting, and usually it's not so long, but most of the time it is. And also to figure out, to see if you got the job or if you got a call, like the suspense. And you just have to be really patient because sometimes they do take a long time with the lights and the hair and stuff and in between takes. If you're a kid and you're thinking about doing this business, then try it. It's fun. I like it. If you don't like it, I mean, you could always quit, but I do it for fun.
Because the successful child model must be able to take direction, consider the following. Does your child respond well to direction? They say that time is money, and this phrase is certainly applicable to the TV commercial and modeling business. The successful child model should be able to perform as expected, or at least reasonably close to what the director is expecting. Does your child listen when you talk with him or her? Do they understand and respond to your wishes? Obviously, this applies to children who are old enough to comprehend what is going on. If your child is an infant or toddler, chances are they're going to act naturally. Hopefully, their naturalness will be as captivating to the advertising world as it is to you at home. If your child is old enough to understand what is happening, they will be expected to listen and perform as instructed. What happens when an adult, other than a family member, such as a doctor, babysitter, or a teacher, instructs your child to do something? How do they respond? If your child has to be told a dozen times before they will do something, chances are they will not like the studio atmosphere. It certainly isn't necessary to send your child to obedience school. Just think about the issue. How well does your child listen to you and to others? If your child doesn't like to listen, they probably won't like modeling. What about your child's behavior? Remember, a well-behaved child model is welcome on any set. If you have been able to respond with a yes answer to at least 4 of the 5 previous questions, then your child may well have what it takes to become a successful child model. Remember that no such simplified test could ever be foolproof. These questions have been designed to help you understand the basic characteristics that a casting director will be looking for in children.
The ability to take direction varies with the age of the child, I think. Obviously, I'm not going to expect a 2-year-old to do what a 10-year-old will do. But then again, the auditions that I do with a 2-year-old will be much simpler than a 10-year-old. But in an older age, I definitely will expect a child to be able to hear me and understand and change the approach when I am giving direction. If they can't do that, they don't belong in this business. They really do have to be able to hear the changes.
Basically, if the child's old enough to understand what's going on, the director on the set is going to expect them to follow direction. So parents should really ask themselves, is their child well behaved? Do you have a child that you have to tell over and over and over again to do something, or does your child listen to you? And more importantly, do they listen to people outside of your house? Do they listen to their teachers or to their babysitters? How well do they respond? If you've got a child who's well behaved, chances are they're going to be able to follow direction. And a child who's well behaved on the set is welcome all the time.
Now that you have some idea of what the advertising world will be looking for in your child, let's take a moment to discuss what the advertising world will be looking for in you as the parent of the model. Our next segment will help you to determine your own potential for child model parenting. As parents, you will play a very important role in the development of your child's modeling career. There will be many responsibilities that you will need to oversee. While it may seem on the surface to be easy, you will be surprised at the amount of time that you must devote to this one task. In the beginning, you have complete control. You must follow through with agencies and casting directors. You will be responsible for your child. Should your child attain success, you will have to make decisions on how to handle their earnings. You will also have the responsibility of teaching your child how to live with success or perhaps even fame. Being the parent of a child model will also require you to help your child and yourself to keep this experience in perspective. This should be a fun adventure right from the start, with no undue pressure placed upon you or your child to succeed. Once again, the questions and comments that follow will help to give you valuable insight into the all-important role that the model parent must play. Pursuing child modeling opportunities takes time. Ask yourself, do you have the time? Building a successful child modeling career is going to put a demand on your schedule. There will be initial interviews, auditions, and hopefully assignments down the road. As the parent, you will be responsible for transporting your child to and from these appointments and waiting with them while they're on the set. Your schedule should be fairly open and flexible. Families where both parents are working will hinder even the most promising child model. Are you flexible about your plans for the day? Will you love or hate the uncertainty of an ever-changing schedule? The key question really is, do you have the time?
We never have a set schedule. It's absolutely, it's bizarre. It's fun, but it's also you have to be very committed to it. And it's not the type of thing where you can just take a vacation when you want to take a vacation. You might have your college roommate coming in and the phone rings and you've got to be someplace on a set, and that's the way it is. You go to the set. So in that way, it's much more demanding than a regular business. and the hours can be very long in one day, and you might have a week where you put in a 6-day week, 12 hours a day, and then maybe for 2 weeks you might have a lot of free time, and that's when you get to relax and do the things that you want to do, but you can't control your schedule.
Well, if you're considering pursuing this business and you're really serious about it, the parent and the child both need to look at the time commitment that it's going to take. It's a very time-consuming business. Auditions, bookings, schoolwork. You know, a lot of kids do schoolwork on the train on the way into the city, or they do it while they're waiting for auditions. Some kids are homeschooled. That's how professional they are at this. You know, they take it very seriously. It's a business to them. So a parent needs to look at the fact that it's going to take a lot of their time. It's going to take a big chunk of time taking the kids back and forth to auditions. Do they really want to make that kind of investment?
Well, the first thing you really need to understand as a parent is this business takes time. You have to be able and be willing to make that kind of a commitment. You're certainly going to have to take the child on the calls. You're going to have to take them for the callbacks if you're lucky enough to get them. And then you're going to have to sit there and wait with them on the set. All of these things require you to make sacrifices of your time. So I would say to a parent, if they're willing to make that investment in the time in the child, then I would go ahead and proceed. But if they don't have the time, or if they don't have the flexibility in their schedule, chances are their child cannot succeed in this business.
A good deal of your responsibility, at least in the beginning, will be dedicated to managing your child's career. So ask yourself, are you prepared to manage your child's career? If you have decided that you have the time for your child to be in modeling, the next area to consider is, will you be able to manage your child's career? You will need to deal with two very distinct sides of your child's career. Obviously, your child cannot make business or financial decisions on their own. You will have to keep your child's schedule and also handle negotiations with agencies and casting directors. Once you have decided to introduce your child into the world of modeling, you must take responsibility to ensure your child's business well-being. Casting directors and agents will be relying on your performance as much as they will be on your child's. Remember that child modeling requires a team effort, and you are the captain of that team. The second area that you will need to manage will be that of your child's emotional growth. Child modeling is not something that should be pursued unless all parties are in agreement with the process. Obviously, if your child is too young to make this decision for themselves, you will be responsible for making it for them. Remember that this should be fun, first and foremost. If you find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, all the better. But it's always helpful if you will enjoy the process, win, lose, or draw. There will be a fair share of successes and failures that you will encounter. You and your child are partners in this venture, and both of you will be giving up a lot while you are pursuing these opportunities. Consider that even the most successful of models has to deal with many disappointments. No child is right for every part, and therefore your child must learn to handle rejection without taking it personally. Always remember that modeling should be treated first as a fun adventure. If fame and fortune should be the result, all the better.
It's a lot of work for my parents because in the show they take me back and forth. They bring me, they go home, they come back and get me, and then they go back home. And the matinee days, which I have 2 shows on, it's a big, hectic thing. But my mom is always running me around, so I'm so thankful that I have a good mommy and daddy.
A lot of people wonder what kind of money can be made in this business. My biggest commercial booker last year made $200,000. This is a child that's also homeschooled. This is her business. She moved here from Mississippi, and her whole family is here to pursue this business for her. But they keep an apartment in New York City, they pay for a car in New York City, there's a lot of expenses, but she's got a nice college fund put away. She's got some nice money waiting for her when she's 21.
What's on top of everybody's mind, aside from, of course, the acting adventure, is the money in commercials. There's a lot of money to be made in commercials. Does it happen to everyone? No, but let's go on the lightning strike theory again, that your child does book. For the shoot day itself, you booked for 8 hours. For the 8 hours, you make $414.25. After 8 hours, should the shoot go longer, you're paid overtime, time and a half, then double time. But usually, they'll get you out in the 8 hours because nobody wants to spend a lot of money. But that's not where the money is in commercials. The money in commercials is in residuals. Residuals being that every time the commercial runs somewhere in this country, or sometimes all over the world, you are being paid on a sliding scale. That's all computerized. It's all watched out for you. Now, depending on what kind of commercial you've booked, let's say it's a national network commercial, meaning it's going to run all over the country, including New York, LA, and Chicago. For a year on a commercial like that, you could easily make $7,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 for a year. Now that's wonderful for one day's work. And if you multiply that, thinking about some kids who are really hitting it, who could have 5, 6, 7, 8 national network commercials on the air at the same time, that's a good year.
A very large part of your role will be to assist your child in maintaining the proper attitude. Ask yourself, can you keep the modeling experience in the proper perspective? Should you be among the fortunate and achieve success in child modeling, your child's career could take off. He or she might appear in national commercials, TV shows, or even movies. Although one of your children may attain that level of success, hopefully you will be able to take as much pride in the accomplishments of your other non-model children. A child model who is also the star of the family may grow up with some amount of sibling rivalry. Will you be able to teach your child the benefits of being humble concerning their achievements? Successful child models sometimes encounter jealous classmates in school. Through any of these situations that may arise, you will need to maintain focus and perspective.
Well, the biggest thing is the child has to want to do it. And then beyond wanting to do it and beyond having the mentality to do it, they have to have the emotional development to do it. So, and they also have to be committed and be willing to give up a lot of the things from their childhood, because it's like anything else. You know, you can't have it both ways. It doesn't work that way. And, you know, his little brother could do this business, but his little brother still likes being a little kid. So maybe someday his little brother will decide, oh, you know, I'd like to do this more, but for now he's a little kid. That's what he likes to do, and so he does his thing, you know. And I think it's really important. And the biggest thing is their feet have to be on the ground. And the minute it isn't, that's the time to pull the rug out. Because what good is success if you've lost a person?
Possibilities are endless. I mean, I think Macaulay Culkin didn't expect what happened to him. And you'll notice that because of his success, there's more and more child stars out there that are making a lot of money, and they're making movies revolved around kids. They didn't really think they could do it until they found Macaulay Culkin, and he was such a huge success that they said, you know, maybe there's other talented kids out there that can hold a whole movie on their shoulders. And that's what we're seeing now. They're looking for kids to star in movies. They're looking for kids to carry sitcoms. They're looking for the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsens that America's going to fall in love with. They're always looking for that. And if your child is the next Mary-Kate or Ashley Olsen, your bank account's going to really be happy. There's a lot of money to be made, and a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
First thing a parent has to realize is they have to have the ability to keep this experience in the proper perspective. They shouldn't put any undue pressure on their child or themselves to really become a big success in this business. If they find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, all the better. But they should have fun with this. Modeling, everybody takes this too seriously. Modeling can be a fun business. Going on a casting call can be fun. Getting an assignment obviously can be fun. And being there the day of the shoot and going through the process can be fun. Seeing your child in a TV commercial when the family is watching, it's fun. But each and every step of it has to be fun. Basically, success is a journey, it's not a destination. So have fun with it. Keep it in the proper perspective.
Okay, you now know if you and your child have the necessary traits to consider pursuing this business. Let's assume that you both do. What's your next step? What do you really need to get started? Actually, you need just one thing at this point, and that is, you need a great photograph of your child. The question is, will any photo do? Will a snapshot or a department store photo do? Of course, like any rule, this one pertaining to professional versus amateur photos could have many exceptions. Please keep in mind that this video has been designed to give you and your child the best possible chance at success. Beginning with a great professional photo will provide you with many advantages. In the first place, It will help to put your child ahead of the tremendous amount of competition that is out there trying to gain the attention of all those important agents. Your child's photo is the first of several areas where you as a parent have some control. Here's one area where you can slant the odds in your child's favor. I'm sure that most of you have heard this phrase, all you really need to get started in this business is a snapshot. But in this highly competitive field, is that your best choice? Let's listen to what some of the experts have to say about the importance of great photography.
Well, what I would say to people with regards to headshots is you have one chance. I throw a lot of headshots in the garbage. I mean, you have one chance to have your picture in front of me and have it say something, and have it say, meet me, you know, I'm great, or I have a lot of personality. And you don't have a lot of time. I mean, we get a lot of pictures. You have to really have something different. Your picture has to sparkle. It has to say, I'm special.
A photograph is very important because it is actually your calling card. And the casting person decides whether or not they're going to see you depending on your photograph and your resume. And they know what they're looking for, and they know there's a specific type they're looking for each role. And that's how they decide. And if it's not a good photograph, it doesn't represent you very well. So you want the best possible photograph because you always want to put your best foot forward.
Probably the single biggest misleading statement in this business that parents hear is, all you really need to get started is a snapshot. Can you start with a snapshot? Sure. Should you? Definitely not. Let's face it, you're sending your child's picture to casting directors, agents, managers, professional people, people that are seeing other professional models day in and day out. Your child's picture is going to have their attention all of about 2 seconds. And in that time period, that agent or that manager is going to say, yes, I'm interested, no, I'm not. So my advice is to make it the best possible shot for the best possible chance of success. I have some other problems with the snapshot theory. One of them is it doesn't tell a casting director if your child can perform under professional situations. Let's face it, who took the snapshot? Mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa? Of course the child is comfortable. Of course the child feels at home. But how will that child perform when you put him in front of a professional photographer? So one of the reasons for getting a good professional shot is to see how your child will perform. I mean, that may save you time, money, and disappointment right there. You put your child in front of a professional photographer and the child doesn't enjoy it, you know you've got a problem. The other thing that I don't like about the snapshot theory is when an agent or somebody tells you that, you can't distinguish the good agents between the bad agents. One of them might just be saying, send me a snapshot, meaning don't spend any money on pictures till you get here. And then we'll send you where we want you to go spend your money. So I have a problem with the snapshot theory. But the biggest concern to me is you've got one shot, one chance to get that casting director or that agent's attention. You've got to make it a great shot. Forget the snapshot. Get a great shot.
Remember that your child's photo is their calling card. So why not make it a photo that agents simply can't resist? Do some research in your area and seek out a professional photographer that can capture your child's unique look and personality. Seek out photographers that specialize in theatrical photography. Try to avoid wedding and portrait photographers. You should plan to do some work in the area of selecting a photographer. Make sure that you select someone that both you and your child will feel comfortable working with. Meet with them before you decide, and definitely review their work. Remember that this photo is your child's calling card, and a great one will make all the difference in the world. It is with this photo that your child's career will begin, so make it a great beginning. Now it's time to seek out the people that can give your child work as a model. It's time to find the right agent for your child. You will begin this process by searching out as many of the agencies and management companies that you can find in your immediate area and any outside areas that you would be willing to travel to. Finding a good agent can be a difficult task without some good first-hand knowledge. Unfortunately, in this business, there are all too many people that are ready and waiting to exploit your attempt at success for your child. Many so-called agencies make the majority of their money by charging you for products or services that you should not be paying them for. Telling the difference between a good agency and a cleverly designed con game may not be all that easy for you at this point. So let's first talk about the agencies that you will most likely want to stay away from. First, Stay away from the help wanted, models needed section of the newspaper.
An ad like this one that's calling out for models with no experience, is surely a sign of just that. That's just what they're looking for. They're looking for people who have no idea how this business works. So try and remember to stay away from any ads that call out for models needed, that say no experience necessary. In general, stay away from the classified sections of the newspapers altogether. A quality agency, one with a good reputation, does not need to advertise for models. These people call them all the time.
Next, do not be talked into more photos by an agent or manager, especially if they insist on one of their photographers.
Next thing you need to look out for, and it's cleverly disguised, is, look, you got to have pictures. And boy, do I know a great photographer. While it's true that you do need good pictures to succeed in this business, legitimate agents will let you use any photographer of your choice, of course, as long as they're professional. So stay away from agents who insist that you use their photographer exclusively.
And training, at least at this point, is unnecessary. If you run into anyone that promises you work, beware. Remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Now that you know what to watch out for, how do you go about finding a good agent? Check around. Contact your local advertising agencies for model agency referrals. Speak with commercial photography studios. Contact the local Chamber of Commerce. Talk with department stores to learn where they acquire their models. And speak with some local television studios for recommendations. The next step would be to contact your regional Screen Actors Guild for a list of reputable agencies and managers. You can also check the yellow pages for agency listings, but remember to ask them if they charge a fee for representing your child. If they do, it's probably a sign that you are in the wrong place. If you are fortunate enough to know some working models, ask them what agencies they work through. Word of mouth is always a great source of agency referrals. There are also numerous mailing lists of child agencies available. If you have trouble locating a good list for your area, you can contact our information line for assistance. While we are still on the subject of agencies, there is another common misunderstanding that some parents have, and that is the rumor that if an agency likes you, they will pay for everything you need. We asked Leanne Kamina about this one, and here's what she had to say.
A common misunderstanding that a lot of people have is, well, if an agency thinks your kid is great, they're going to pay for your lessons, and they're going to pay for your pictures, and they're going to pay for you to trek around the city. That's just not true. I mean, basically, the investment is yours. If you want to get involved in this business, it's going to come out of your pocket. And no one's going to pay for pictures for you. No one's going to pay for lessons for you. It's your investment. If you're interested in getting involved in the business, it's a chance you've got to take. It's a risk. It's money that you've got to say, well, we'll put it out on the table. We might get it back, but we might not. A lot of people spend a lot of money and don't ever see any returns. You have to give yourself, a reasonable amount of time to say, okay, it didn't work, or it's work. We think we're working towards something. And if it doesn't seem like it's working, cut your losses and move on.
You should understand that when entering this business, like any other business, the tools that you will need are your investment. Always try to apply the information in this video, and you should be able to make wise choices and smart decisions. Once you have acquired that great eye-catching photo of your child, it's time for the next step. It's time to have your child's face seen by the right people. You must now have the selected shot reproduced in a quantity of about 100 photos, so that you can mail them out to the people who can give your child work as a model. You should have your photo reproduced on a glossy surface paper in at least a 6-inch by 8-inch size. Make sure that the reproductions are crisp and clear with the proper color balance. An average price for glossy color photos in this size is about $1.50 a piece in quantity. Do not settle for substandard quality prints. No dust spots, no scratches, and no discolorations. Return any inferior prints for replacements. You should ask your photographer for guidance in this area. If you are unable to attain quality quantity prints in your area at a reasonable price, you may call our model information line for assistance. Once you have your quantity of photographs and a list of people to send them to, it's time to prepare your child's photo package for mailing. You should compose a brief cover letter, which is typewritten, that will introduce your child to the agent or casting director and include the letter with each photo that you mail out. This letter should contain yours and your child's name, the child's age, and personal statistics, such as hair color, eye color, height, and weight. Remember to include your phone number as well. On the back of each photo, you should place a typewritten peel and stick label that contains your child's name, and your telephone contact number. You will need 100 labels to go with your photos. You will need envelopes and return address labels as well. There are service companies that can provide you with these letters and labels if you do not wish to spend the time typing. You will need to prepare enough packages to cover the amount of agents, casting directors, advertising agencies, and so on. You should have a quantity of photographs left over so that you can give some to each interested agent or producer. And now it's time to wait for the results. This is where patience on your part will first come into play. The agents and people that you are mailing to are most likely very busy people, and it may take some time for them to respond to your child's photo. You may hear in as short a time as 2 weeks, or it could take up to 2 months. Be confident in knowing that you have done everything right up to this point. Your package should float to the top, and you should begin to receive calls. And now a word about success and disappointment. While you are waiting for those agents and managers to respond to your child's photo, it's a good time to put this business into that proper perspective that we've been talking about throughout this video. As you continue your journey, you will most likely have your fair share of successes and disappointments. Let's face it, as far as you're concerned, no child could ever be more right for those TV commercial parts than your own. Even if you think your child is the best choice for every call that you go on, they may only land one job in 10 auditions in the beginning. The rejections could be a bit overwhelming to you and your child if you let them. Please don't let this happen. Remember that every casting director has their own ideas as to what type will sell each product. You will be taking part in one gigantic guessing game. They may guess right, and then again, they could guess wrong. By all means, do not take it personally. Your child is perfect just the way they are. There is no need to change your child to fit any assignment. It's only a question of finding the right job to fit your child. And remember, if you can keep your expectations within reason, you should have a wonderful time and an experience that you will share with your child for years to come. By now, you have a complete understanding of what's required, at least to begin pursuing TV commercial opportunities for your child. You know how to realistically evaluate your child's showbiz potential. You also know the enormous commitments of time and energy that you as a parent will have to make. You've learned what to look for and hopefully what to look out for. You know how to prepare your child's photo, how to professionally package it, and who to send it to. If you and your child can enjoy working together and remember to have fun, this adventure should be profitable in experience and perhaps in dollars. Let's take a look once again at the 6 steps that you will be taking. Step number 1 will be to evaluate your child's potential for TV commercials. Remember to be honest and objective at all times. Keep in mind that there is a tremendous demand for children of all kinds, beautiful babies, everyday kids, and character kids. And remember that at this early stage, personality will be more important than looks. The work is there. It's simply a matter of finding it. Step number 2 will be to evaluate your own potential as a showbiz parent. The successful model parent will be able to make the time commitment. They will be able to handle the successes and the failures that may result, and they will be able to help their child and their families keep this adventure in the proper perspective. Step number 3 will include finding an appropriate photographer. Be prepared to put some effort into your search. Find a pro that you and your child will be comfortable working with. You should be hiring more than just someone who can point and shoot the camera. You should be confident that the photographer you select will be able to guide you and your child through the initial and very important photo session. Remember, it's a great shot that has the best chance of opening those doors. Step number 4 is to select the best of your child's photos for quantity reproductions. Since you have already put a great deal of time into selecting a great photographer, now is the time to let them put their professional expertise to work for you. Keep in mind that you are probably not the best judge of your child's pictures, so let the experts guide you in this area. Step number 5 is to search out the reputable agencies and managers in your area. Be careful with this step and make sure that you are selecting an agent that can help you achieve your goal. Remember to stay away from the questionable company types that we have spoken about in this video. A good agent or manager is worth their weight in gold and will surely work with you to make things happen. Step number 6 is to prepare and package your child's photo for agency submission. Keep a record of who you have sent your child's photo packages to. Be patient. It could take anywhere between 2 weeks and 2 months to hear. Those are the 6 steps that you should follow if you have decided to pursue television commercials for your child. These simple steps will give each one of you the best possible chances for success. If you have followed the program as outlined, you have certainly presented your child in their best light. Remember that success is relative. Each family's experiences and results will be different. Whether your successes are large or small, strive to keep this experience in perspective. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. Make the most of it. This is an adventure that you and your child can share forever. Please keep in mind that your child is perfect just the way they are. There is never a need to change them to be something that they are not. Whether your child has TV commercial star quality or just a star quality of their own, keep in mind that your child is 1 in a million and very, very special. Remember to always treat them that way. Good luck on your venture, and here's hoping that the next commercial we see has your child in it. As we say in this business, that's a wrap.